I am going to read a book called Funny Bones for World Book Week or World Book Day. Right. And it's this. This is how the story begins. On a dark, dark hill there was a dark, dark town. In the dark, dark town there was a dark, dark street. In the dark, dark street there was a dark, dark house. In the dark, dark house there was a dark, dark something. Down the dark, dark. Is it streets? Streets, yeah. There was a dark, dark cellar, and in the dark, dark cellar, some skeletons lived. There was a big skeleton, a little skeleton, and a dog skeleton. On one night, the big skeleton sat up in bed. He scared his skull. "What shall we do tonight?" he said. "Let's take the dog for a walk," said the little skeleton, "and frighten somebody." "Good idea," the big skeleton said. So the big skeleton and the little skeleton and the dog skeleton left the dark, dark cellar, climbed up the dark, dark streets, and stopped out into dark, dark streets. They walked past houses and the shops. They walked past the zoo and the police station. They went into the park. The big skeleton scared his skull. What shall we do now?" he said. "Let's play on the swings," said the little skeleton, "and throw a stick for the dog, and frighten somebody." "Good idea," the big skeleton said. So the big skeleton, the little skeleton, and the dog skeleton walked around the dark, dark pond, past the dark, dark tennis court, and up to the dark, dark swings. The big skeleton and the little skeleton played on the swings. They threw a stick for the dog. Suddenly something happened. The dog skeleton chased the stick, tripped over a park bench, bumped into a tree. And ended up as a little pile of bones. "Look at what the big skeleton said. He's all come to pieces. What shall we do now?" "Let's put him together again," the little skeleton said. So the big skeleton and the little skeleton put the dog skeleton together again. They sang a song while they did it. The toe bones connected to the foot bone, the foot bones connected to the leg bone connected to the hip bone. the hip bone connected to the backbone. Then they got mixed up. Is that a toe bone? The little skeleton said. Where does this one go? Said the big skeleton. When they had finished, the dog skeleton said, that dog looks a bit funny to me. So he does, said the little skeleton. We've got this tail on the wrong end and his head, woof, and said the dog skeleton. At last, the dog was probably put back together again. The big skeleton and the little skeleton sang another song. The big skeleton scared his skull. That reminds me, he said, we forgot to figure somebody that scared somebody. Let's do it on the way home. Then said the little skeleton. Good idea, the big skeleton said. So the big skeleton and the little skeleton and the dog skeleton left the dark swings, went out into the dark town and tried to frighten somebody. The trouble was, there wasn't anybody, anything was in bed. Even the policeman in the station were in bed. Even the animals in the zoo, of course. The skeleton animals were awake. Let's have a ride on the elephant, skeleton. The little skeleton said, let's have a word with the parrot skeleton. The big skeleton scared his skull. Let's keep out of the way of the crocodile skeleton, he said. When they were back in the streets and when they still could not find anybody to frighten, the big skeleton said, what shall we do now? The little skeleton scared his skull. Let's frighten each other, he said. That better than nothing. Good idea, the skeleton said. So after that, the big skeleton frightened the little skeleton frightened the big skeleton and the little skeleton frightened the dog skeleton, and the dog skeleton frightened them. They hid around corners and frightened each other. They climbed up lamp posts and frightened each other. They jumped out of dustbins and frightened each other. All the way home, and that is how the story ends. One on a dark hill there was a dark, dark town. In the dark, dark town, there was a dark, dark street. In the dark, dark street, there was a dark, dark house. In the dark, dark house, there was a dark, dark staring down the dark, dark. There was a dark, dark cellar. In the dark, dark cellar, some skeletons live. They still do. The end. Thank you for watching me reading out this story for World Book Day or World Book Week. Thank you. Please subscribe, comment below, hit that like button, and follow me on some things. So, okay, thank you. Bye.